call the member for Goldstein.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I want to start by reiterating some of the sentiments actually of the previous speaker by saying we want this motion to be unanimous. And we actually want people to support in this parliament the spirit and ideals of the motion. And one of the best ways to get there is not to use it as an opportunity for political discussions, partisan discussions designed to divide society. It's actually to focus on how we're all coming together as a country and recognise how everybody and every member of the House of Representatives hopefully appeals to the idea that we are equal all before the law and everybody has a place in this country regardless of their background. Not to score cheap political points because they think it will get them some attention in a newspaper or it will enable them to go off and send messages to one section of the community or the other as part of their grandstanding exercise, rather than actually focusing on things that improve the human condition. And so that's where I was disappointed with the previous speaker and the way he conducted himself, because in the end he wasn't focusing on what we could actually do to bring the parliament together to support this resolution unanimously. He used it as an opportunity for himself and for his grandstanding so that he could score cheap political points. And that's exactly what this motion is designed to stop. It's exactly what this motion is designed to stop. It's actually designed to focus on how we bring the country together and move it forward together. When you look through the principles that underpin it, it's extremely straightforward. Based on a motion that was, as mentioned, passed 20 years ago through the leadership or the Liberal leadership of John Howard, it's to reaffirm our commitment to the right of all Australians to enjoy equal rights and be treated with equal respect regardless of people's backgrounds. We all agree. Reaffirms our commitment to maintaining an immigration policy wholly non-discriminatory on grounds of race, colour, creed or origin, or, let's face it, Deputy Speaker, it should also include any other irrelevant attribute. It also says that we should reaffirm its commitment to the process of reconciliation with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders and deal with the issues around redressing their profound social and economic disadvantage, as well as reaffirming our commitment to maintaining Australia as a culturally diverse, tolerant and open society united by an overriding commitment to our nation and its democratic institutions and values, and denounces racial intolerance in any form as incompatible with the kind of society that we want to be. And at every point, all I've heard from people on the side of the government, all the ministers, all the members of parliament, is a commitment to that process and a commitment to those ideals and values. And when we use it as an opportunity to divide because we think we can score cheap political points, it's not just that we distract from the central thrust of it. It's that we undermine and send a message somehow out there to the rest of the community that these values aren't shared and extolled. And that's why this government takes these values and principles so strongly, as I do. In fact, these values in many ways are some of the key reasons that I sought to enter public life in the first place, because there is no place in society for people to face marginalisation or exclusion simply because of who they are and the basis of how they live their lives. What we want is a society where everybody feels an equal investment and an opportunity to contribute both economically and socially to build this country from the bottom up, where we have individuals who come together to form families, community and ultimately country. That is the type of country we want to be. That is how we achieve a more just society, and it's about how we take everybody forward together. And we know full well that we still have enormous challenges, particularly with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, in making sure that they can move forward together as part of Australian society around issues of health and economic disadvantage. And that's why, as Human Rights Commissioner, I was very proud to work on issues directly around improving the economic opportunities for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and enabling them to use their land and property rights to achieve greater economic participation. Not just as an end of itself, but then we could then go on and build the opportunities for greater social dividend for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, particularly outside of capital cities. And I was very happy to enjoy the support of the Attorney-General, George Brandis, and the government in doing that work, because there was so much advantage to it, with the support also, I might add, of many senior Indigenous leaders. And that's how you take a country forward together. It isn't by focusing on points of negativity and division because it tries to achieve some political exercise. You would take a country forward together by focusing on the points of unity that unite us as a country and, as the motion says at the end, appeals to our idea of the kind of society and the country that we want to be. And that's why this government has had such a generous and ongoing commitment to a non-discriminatory global humanitarian program. And that commitment, despite the hyperbole that's come and the vented and confected outrage, let's face it, of some of the other speakers, remains utterly resolute from the minister as well as from the government. Last financial year, the government delivered a total refugee and humanitarian program of 17,555 places, which included 15,502 offshore places. And that is the largest offshore intake in Australia in 30 years under this current minister. Australia's annual refugee and humanitarian program is set to grow to 18,750 by 2018-19, and that's one of the most generous permanent resettlement programs in the world. And we achieve that because we have strong border protection, we have a commitment from the government to make sure that people smugglers are not rewarded, and now, to the government's great credit, efforts to resettle people who are held on offshore detention to the United States as well as potentially other countries. But you can't build public confidence and public support for higher rates of migration generally, as well as helping people who are seeking asylum from across the world, unless the public believes the borders are secure and that there is a process where people are treated equally and with their dignity, and that people's assessment of their claims is based on the legitimacy of their claims, not on their process of arrival. And that's what this government has achieved, and is one of its great achievements and legacies that it will continue to contribute to the development of this great country. And by maintaining public confidence in this issue of border security, which is so vital, it has continued to be able to offer 16,350 visas since July 2015 to those displaced by the conflict in Syria and Iraq, helping people based on the legitimacy of their need, not on the process of their arrival. We've also been able to offer 5,490 people who have been interviewed and assessed as meeting the threshold requirements for a visa and awaiting the outcomes of health, character and security checks. These new Australians will be provided with the best opportunity to start productive lives and reach their full potential. And that is what we want. That is something that is good for our country. Those are the values and the spirit in which the motion the Prime Minister has moved, for which we are debating and discussing and hopefully supporting, very much seeks to achieve. Because the government is proudly sustaining our world-class resettlement services. Entrants are eligible for the same social service benefits as other humanitarian entrants, including Medicare, income support payments, English language tuition, torture and trauma counselling, and settlement services. And the objective of that is to take people and to enable them to best integrate into Australian society and then go on and live productive lives. And that again goes to the heart and the spirit of the program of the government, but equally what it seeks to achieve when we bring people here so that they can be full participants as new Australians. Because we are committed to enabling these new Australians to become self-reliant, to stand on their own 2 feet, not just so they can take care of themselves, though that is very important, but to be able to assist others who come with similar waves of migration to be able to contribute to this great country and participate equally in all of Australian society. And Deputy Speaker, that is at the heart of what liberalism is. It is a political philosophy built on the idea and the capacity of the individual to make their maximum contribution, to live their lives and be able to make their commitment and contribution to our society. And that's why the spirit of this motion goes to the heart of liberalism itself, not Labourism, which in the past sadly has been at times deliberately exclusionary, but to focus on those uniting principles that bind all people, that sit in the heart of liberal philosophy and which motivate us, including yourself, Deputy Speaker, to go from your community and come on the national stage and to be able to reaffirm those basic commitments of liberty for all. And that's why I support this motion, and I hope other members of this House do. In fact, I agree with the aspirations of the previous speaker that my hope is it is achieved unanimously, because in the end it does send a message about the type of country we want to be. United, focused on the future, and building the potential of every single Australian, new or old, to contribute to this great country.
The member's time has expired.